If you're a business owner and you are running your business on your own, maybe with your spouse, maybe with a small team of people, family members, this channel is all for you. I don't tend to work in the corporate world, although a lot of what we talk about covers that as well. But the reality is our speciality is working with family-run businesses. And if you're in some sort of creative space, that's right up our boulevard. We love working with creative people. And today's video is about something that happened to me this morning that I want to share with you and give you an example of what I see all of the time happening in businesses that we help, and sometimes happens in my own business. I think you'll get some value from it. And the situation is this. Last week, our car went in for a service, came back all okay. The very next morning, turned the key, nothing. In fact, didn't turn the key, pressed the button, it's got a button. Press the button, nothing, didn't start. All lit up, click, didn't start. I've had enough cars over the years to know that was probably a starter motor. Don't know. Anyway, I went to the garage and said, hey, can you book this in? I think it's a starter motor. They agreed. Anyway, the next day came out, the car started. The car wasn't booked in for another week, so we carried on driving it and it worked. It's okay. And I thought, well, I do need to get it fixed, so I left it booked in. So it worked all week. One time it failed, worked all week. We've been all over the place in it. This morning I had to take it to the garage. Guess what? And press the button, wouldn't start. So I phoned the garage and said, what do we do? How do I get it to you? They said, we've got a guy that we use who comes and picks up cars and does the thing. A small business owner. Great. So he arrives with his truck and he gets under the bonnet. He makes sure the battery's okay. He pulls things apart. Eventually it's an automatic. He gets it out of park into neutral. He drags it out and gets it on his trailer and takes it to the garage. Great, problem solved. As far as I'm concerned, that car is of no use to me if it doesn't start. Here's what the lesson is. He stood at my office door and said, I'll send you a link on your phone to pay me. Is that okay? I said, of course it's okay. I'll pay you straight away. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Incidentally, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, still not had the link. That's another thing. But anyway, he's going to send me a link. I said, well, just out of curiosity, how much is it? Now, in my mind, I'd already had a price. The car was stuck, couldn't go anywhere with it, needed to get it to the garage to be repaired. I knew it needed repairing. It's really inconvenient for me trying to organise all this. But he's offered this great service. He comes up, picks it up, takes it away, problem solved. I've got on and done my day. What's that worth? Put in the comment what you think it was worth. But me personally, I was like, it's probably going to cost a couple of hundred, maybe 250 plus VAT. I had a sort of thinking, well, if it's 250 plus VAT, I'm not going to argue. Anything lower than that, I'm winning. I'd already set that expectation because the guy's turned up with his truck, he's travelled in, he's picked it up, he's taken it to the garage, yada, yada, yada. He's got costs. He's got fuel costs, insurance costs, he's got his tools, he had another mechanic with him, so there was 2 of them, and I'm going, yeah, fine. Yeah. I'm a hostage to fortune here. You've got me, right? I'm ready for it. Okay, happy to do that. Anyway, he stands at the door and he says, it's £100. Okay, I said, £100. He said, it's £100 including VAT, which means he's VAT registered. I'm like, whoa, okay, if you're sure, happy to pay. Send me the link, I'll pay you instantly. In case he changes his mind, right? Paid you instantly. But here's the thing, we all do this. We pick a price, and we're going to use his £100 as an example. And part of his conversation to me was, I'm only going to charge you £100 because I know the economy's tough. At the moment, we've got fuel prices have gone up. He said, it's really tough out there. So he said, I'm trying to be good with everybody and I'm only charging £100 for this particular service. How much did it cost him to pick that vehicle up? Well, let's assume he thinks it's £50. £50 for the guy's labour, £50 for his own labour, for his fuel, everything that got him here to pick it up, the wear and tear on his truck, the tools, etc., etc. At that point, he's making £50 profit. He's making, more importantly, 50%. Now, whether that's good or bad is irrelevant. It's just a number, for example, but I want you to put your numbers into place here. Because the gap that we have in our thinking is that the conversation that we have with the customer in front of us feels like we want to be fair, feels like we want to offer a good service. I mean, the guy did a great service. It was brilliant. He was pleasant as well. He dealt with the car. I was in the office. I didn't even have to put my coat on. He just dealt with it. And he made an assumption that the price was going to be a problem for me. And because he made that assumption, he talked himself out of potentially £150. Now, had that been £150 and therefore charged me £250, and had his costs been right, and I'm going to come back to this in a minute, had his costs been £50, he would have made £200. Now, you might not, and I'm going to might teach Granny to suck eggs here, but I'm going to take you through the basics of doing this calculation. This one's easy. £50 profit on £100 is obviously 50%. But it's 200 divided by 250. This £200 profit divided by 250 equals 0.8 times 100 is 80%. So this calculation here produces an 80% profit. And it's this percentage figure that is going to change your life with your business if you understand how to calculate it, and you then understand how to apply it to your next sale. Because the challenge that we have as business owners is we're faced with this one contract in front of us, and we use this £100 as an example. In order for this guy to make a living, he's obviously got to do a lot of these in a year. And if we were to extrapolate this up, and he was to do £100,000 worth of business per year, and the fact that he's VAT registered suggests that that's perhaps maybe a figure that he's heading for. He thinks it's going to cost him £50,000 to do that, so he's going to make £50,000 profit at 50%. Fantastic. Fantastic. He's made £50,000 doing the thing that he's doing. But the first question is this £50 cost? Is it right? Is it really £50? I'm questioning that for him because I don't think it is. He turned up with his truck. He spent fuel to get here. He's got wear and tear on his tools. He had somebody with him, and he looked like an experienced guy. They both looked like they knew what they were doing, so it wasn't like he brought a junior with him. There was proper wages being paid for that guy. He took the vehicle, took it down to the garage. In all, his time, he was here for probably an hour, figuring out how to get it out of the garage and onto the trailer. He's then got his transportation costs to the garage. He's got to offload it. He's got to move on to, I mean, it was probably 3 hours for two guys this morning, plus his fuel, plus his cost, plus his wear and tear. It was more than £50. All right. So I know that if that's the case, and if we change those figures and said, well, okay, maybe he's wrong, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's £80, right? What does that do to his margin? Well, he's now only making £20, which now he's making 20%. We've just wiped out 30% of his profit. What does that mean? Well, instead of making 50 grand a year, he's now making 30. In this, sorry, 20. We've cost him 30, he's making 20%. Trying to do this in my head while I do a video at the same time. Hence why sometimes you need to check it with a calculator, right? So you're now making 20. We've wiped out 30 grand of his profits. £30,000 is a proper amount of money. And somebody said, well, it's only £30,000. If you drop 30,000 on the floor, would you pick it up? Of course you would. It's decent money. But more importantly, it's the difference between struggling and making money. It's the difference between going on holiday and not going on holiday this year. These sorts of extras that we find in these percentages is huge. What if it was 80%? What if it really was 80%? What if he really was making 50? Maybe we need to change that to 80 and increase that price. The point of the conversation here is this. We are all running our businesses making a single sale to the next customer. If we don't know what the percentage of that particular customer is, what can happen is you end up with a habit. You end up doing this for 100 quid, selling 100,000 of them, and instead of making 50, which is what you need or what you wanted to make, you only make 20. more importantly, if you were to plot these percentages on a graph, find a bit of whiteboard here, and let's say you did that over however long you've been in business, 10 years, 20 years, and you just said, right, where do I get this percentage figure from? Well, it's going to be on your annual accounts. You can calculate it. It'll be sales less cost of sales equals gross profit. Gross profit as a percentage of sales. You might have to get your calculator out. It's not always printed on the accounts, and calculate that figure over as many years as possible. Or you might have some data in your system. You might have some customer data. You might be able to calculate this over the last 100 customers you've done, over the last 20 customers you've done. Whatever, pick a sample that gives you enough to show you a graph. In doing so, you might find, as I did with a client about 3 months ago, and I said, here is the last 7 years of your business. And his percentage was doing that. Why does that matter? Well, if you're doing the same thing day in, day out, month in, month out, year in, year out, and back here, you were making 80% on your sales price, why are you now only making 20% on your sales price? You're doing the same thing. The economy has nothing to do with it. The price of beans has nothing to do with it. If you're paying out labour and your labour costs are going up because the government has said we're going to charge you more national insurance or we're going to increase minimum wage, then two things are going to happen. Either one, you've got to become even more efficient and do the job in half the time, or two, you've got to put your price up. You've got to sell at a higher price because your ultimate goal is to at least maintain this percentage. At least maintain it so that at least your graph, well, this guy in this case got to this level, he should be bobbing along this level. Because the difference between that 20% and that 80%, in his case over 5 years, on a turnover of several million, was worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. In fact, I predict that over that 5 years, he's lost £1 million in cash because somewhere along the line, he's changed his thinking and his views about his pricing strategy. He's gone to the next customer and gone, oh, the economy's a bit tight. Oh, the world's a bit of a mess. Oh, there's a war on. Oh, the fuel price has gone up. Oh, I'm going to keep my prices lower to be fair. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Great morals. Is it? Because that particular business has been struggling with cash flow. The guy who came in this morning, if he keeps doing that over a period of time, inflation is going to increase so much, his percentage is going to come down even more, and he will go out of business. He will literally go out of business because he will run out of money. And my mission in this little video is to somehow help you understand what this simple mathematical calculation that you can do with your calculator very quickly on every job that you invoice, every set of accounts that comes out of your system, whether it's monthly or quarterly or weekly or yearly, pull this out and look at your gross profit percentage figure. Understand and know how that works. Now, if you've got stock and work in progress, this percentage figure is going to be even more important because it's going to be skewed if you don't put your stock and work in progress figure in correctly. That's another video, another conversation, or put in the comments and I'll know that you'll need that and I'll do a specific video. It's a bit complicated that, but your accountant, your bookkeeper should help you do that. But stock and work in progress is going to skew your figures if you don't understand how it impacts this gross profit percentage, this percentage figure that I'm working on here. This percentage figure is a game changer. And if you could only increase one thing in your business, you could increase your sales price or reduce your costs. Focus on this number here. It will make all of the difference. I hope that's of use to you. Please leave your comments below. I'll read all of them and I will happily do some more videos like this or try and explain it further or give you some information. Or if you really want to talk to us, find us in the links. Come and speak to us. See you soon.